Hello and welcome. First up, it's a fun idea if you comment your location. Thanks a lot. Remember to like and subscribe. Let's get comfy and dive in. The dim light of the bedroom casts soft shadows on her skin. I watch her, entranced by the way her body moves beneath the sheets. She's everything to me. I can't imagine a life without her. Every touch, every breath, it's like we're the only two people in the world. Her hair, a cascade of dark waves, frames her face perfectly as she leans into me, her lips grazing my neck. I pull her closer, feeling the warmth of her body against mine. My mind drifts to all the moments we've shared, the highs and lows, the laughter and tears. She's been my rock, my confidant, my lover. I'm overwhelmed with gratitude. This right here is what I live for. I'm a songwriter, known enough in the industry to have a comfortable life. But it's her love that's my true inspiration. Every note I write, every lyric I craft, it's all for her. We've built this life together. A beautiful home, a precious daughter. Our daughter, a bright, curious 5-year-old who's the light of my life. The thought of her brings a smile to my face. Even in the midst of this intense moment with my wife, we're a family, solid and unbreakable. She sighs softly as I kiss her shoulder, her fingers trailing down my spine. I love you, she whispers, her voice barely audible. I don't just hear the words, I feel them, deep in my core. I cup her face, looking into her eyes. I love you too, I reply, and it's the most honest thing I've ever said. Our daughter's giggle echoes down the hallway, and we both pause. I glance toward the door, half expecting to see her little face peeking in. She has a habit of doing that, sneaking into our room at the most unexpected times. I pull back slightly, still holding my wife close. She's awake, I murmur, half smiling. She laughs, that soft, melodic sound that I've grown to adore. I'll go check on her, she says. But before she can move, the door creaks open. There she is, our little girl, holding her favorite stuffed animal, looking at us with wide eyes. Mommy? Daddy? She asks, her voice sleepy. My wife and I exchange a look, a shared understanding. This is what it's all about. I get up, wrapping the sheet around myself as I go to scoop her up. What are you doing up, sweetheart? I ask, kissing the top of her head. Can I sleep with you? She asks, her small hand gripping my shoulder. I glance back at my wife, who nods, her smile still warm, but there's something else in her eyes, a fleeting shadow that I can't quite place. Of course, I say, carrying her to our bed. As we settle in, I catch a glimpse of my wife's phone on the nightstand. The screen lights up with a message. I don't mean to look, but the words catch my eye. Something is not right. I stare at the screen, unable to move. The message flashes briefly before the phone's screen goes dark again, but it's burned into my mind. Can't wait to see you tomorrow, babe. Last night was amazing. X. My heart pounds in my chest, a mixture of disbelief and anger coursing through me. I feel like I'm in a nightmare, but I can't wake up. My wife, the woman I've devoted my life to, is cheating on me. I sit there, the weight of the realization crushing me. I want to scream, to throw something, but our daughter is sleeping peacefully beside us, her tiny hand resting on my arm. I force myself to stay calm, but inside I'm anything but. My thoughts race, trying to make sense of it. Could it be a misunderstanding? A joke? But deep down, I know it's not. She stirs beside me, her breathing soft and even. I look at her, trying to see the woman I thought I knew, the woman I love, but all I see now is a stranger. How could she do this to us? To our family? I want to wake her up, demand an explanation, but the sight of our daughter stops me. I can't do this now, not with her here. The night drags on, every minute stretching into an eternity. I barely sleep, my mind replaying the message over and over. By morning, I've decided I need to confront her, but I still don't know how. I get up quietly, leaving the bed without disturbing them, and head to the kitchen to make coffee. My hands shake as I pour the water, the anger simmering just below the surface. She walks in a few minutes later, wearing that same soft smile, The one that used to make me feel like the luckiest man alive. Now it just makes me feel sick. Morning, she says, wrapping her arms around me from behind. I stiffen, and she notices immediately. What's wrong? I turn to face her, my eyes searching hers for any sign of guilt, but she just looks confused. We need to talk, I say, my voice low, trying to keep it steady. I see a flicker of something in her eyes, fear, but it's gone before I can be sure. About what? She asks, her tone too casual, like she already knows what's coming and is trying to play it off. I take a deep breath, trying to keep my voice from shaking. I saw a message on your phone last night. Who's babe? The question hangs in the air between us, heavy and damning. Her eyes widen and she opens her mouth to say something, but nothing comes out. The silence is deafening. It's not what you think, she finally says, but the words are hollow, empty. Then what is it? I press, my anger rising. Tell me what I'm supposed to think when I see something like that. Explain it to me. She looks away, and that's when I know. She can't explain it because there is no explanation. Not one that I can accept anyway. I'm sorry, she whispers, her voice breaking, and that's all it takes for my world to shatter. I feel like I've been punched in the gut. The air leaves my lungs, and I have to steady myself against the counter. How long? The question comes out harsher than I intended, but I can't help it. I need to know. She hesitates, then looks down at the floor. A few months, she admits, barely audible. But it didn't mean anything. It was just a mistake. A mistake, I repeat, the word like poison on my tongue. A few months of lying to me, of sneaking around behind my back, and you call it a mistake. She's crying now, but it doesn't move me. Not this time. I didn't mean for it to happen, she sobs. I love you, I do, but what? I demand, my voice cold. But you needed something else. Someone else. She doesn't answer, just stands there, tears streaming down her face. I want to yell, to scream at her. But what's the point? It won't change anything. The damage is done. I walk past her, unable to look at her any longer. We're not done talking about this, I say over my shoulder. But not here, not now. I need time to think. I grab my keys and head out the door, needing to get away before I lose control. I drive aimlessly, not sure where I'm going, just knowing I need to be alone. The anger and betrayal mix with a crushing sadness, and I find myself pulling over to the side of the road, my hands gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turn white. How did it come to this? What did I miss? I thought we were happy. I thought we had something real, something that could withstand anything. But I was wrong. All those years, all those memories, tainted by her betrayal. I don't know how long I sit there, but eventually I start driving again. I end up at a park, the one where we used to take our daughter when she was a baby. I sit on a bench watching the children play, their laughter echoing in the distance. I think about our daughter, about what this will do to her, and the weight of it all crashes down on me. I can't let this destroy her too. I have to hold it together for her sake. I go home. My mind's still a mess, but I know I can't avoid this any longer. She's waiting for me when I walk in, her eyes red from crying. I take a deep breath, preparing myself for what's to come. We need to talk, I say again, and this time I mean it. We sit in the living room, the air thick with tension. I'm exhausted, emotionally drained, but I need answers. Why? I ask, the question that's been burning inside me since I saw that message. Buster, I'll say damn mal. I echo the question. Why did you do it? She looks at me, her eyes filled with regret. I don't know, she says, and I can see she's telling the truth. It wasn't about you. It wasn't about us. It was me. I was feeling lost, like I wasn't enough anymore, like I was just going through the motions. And then he came along and it felt new, exciting, but it didn't mean anything. I swear, it didn't. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. Didn't mean anything? I repeat, incredulous. How can you say that? It meant everything. You destroyed everything. I know, she whispers, her voice breaking. I know I did, and I'm so sorry. I don't expect you to forgive me, but please, don't throw away what we have. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. We can work through it. I stare at her, trying to process what she's saying. Part of me wants to believe her, wants to fix this, but another part of me, the part that's been ripped apart by her betrayal, doesn't know if I can. Counseling? Oh, I ask, almost laughing at the absurdity of it. You think counseling is going to fix this? She looks desperate now, reaching out to me, but I pull away. Please, she begs, for our daughter, for us. I love you. I don't want to lose you. Her words hang in the air, but they don't reach me. I feel numb, like I'm watching this happen to someone else. I need time, I finally say, my voice hollow. I don't know what to do right now. I just need time. She nods, tears spilling down her cheeks, and I feel a pang of guilt. But it's quickly overshadowed by the overwhelming sense of betrayal. Take all the time you need, she says, her voice trembling. I'll do whatever it takes to make this right. I don't respond, just stand up and walk away, needing to put as much distance between us as possible. I head to the guest room, shutting the door behind me. I sit on the edge of the bed, my head in my hands, feeling more lost and broken than I ever have in my life. The next few days are a blur. I avoid her as much as I can, throwing myself into work, trying to distract myself from the pain. But it's always there, lurking just beneath the surface. I start digging, needing to know more, needing to understand how deep the betrayal goes. I go through her phone when she's not around, searching for more messages, more clues. I check her emails, her social media, piecing together the timeline of the affair. The more I find, the more I feel like I'm losing my mind. It wasn't just a fling, it was a full-blown affair with secret meetings, late night, phone calls, lies upon lies. Every new piece of information is like a knife to the heart, but I can't stop. I need to know everything. I confront her again, demanding the truth, and this time she doesn't hold back. She tells me everything, every sordid detail, and with each word, I feel my love for her dying a little more. But even as I uncover the truth, I can't help but question everything. Was our entire marriage a lie? How could she do this to me, to our daughter? The doubts, the anger, the pain, it's all consuming and I don't know how to escape it. I suggest counseling, but the words feel hollow, like I'm grasping at straws. She agrees, of course, desperate to fix what she's broken, but I can see the fear in her eyes, the uncertainty. She knows, just as I do, that this might be too much to come back from. As I lie in bed that night, alone in the guest room, I stare at the ceiling, my mind racing. I thought I knew her, thought I knew our life, but now I'm not sure of anything. All I know is that everything has changed, and there's no going back. I try to make it work. We go to therapy, sit in those sterile, uncomfortable chairs, and talk about our feelings, our issues. But it feels like a performance, both of us playing roles we no longer believe in. The therapist asks questions, gentle and probing, but my wife's answers are always vague, evasive. I watch her searching for signs of the woman I fell in love with, but she's slipping further away with each session. I feel her absence even when she's right beside me. Our daughter senses the change. She's quieter now, more withdrawn. It kills me to see her like this, to know that our problems are hurting her too. I try to be there for her, to be the strong, loving father she needs. But every time I look at her, I'm reminded of the mess we're in. I can see the questions in her eyes, questions I'm not ready to answer. At night, the distance between my wife and me grows. We barely touch anymore. I lie next to her, staring at the ceiling, wondering how we got here. She's on her phone constantly, always just out of reach. The doubt gnaws at me. Is she still talking to him? I don't ask because I'm afraid of the answer. Instead, I dig deeper into her life, into the affair. I check her phone when she's asleep, search her emails, her social media. I find more messages, more evidence of their betrayal. Every new discovery is a fresh wound, and I feel myself slipping further into darkness. I can't stop. It's like an addiction. I need to know everything, every detail, as if understanding how deep her betrayal goes will somehow make it easier to bear. But it doesn't. It just fuels the anger, the resentment, and the crushing sense of failure. I've lost control of my life, my family, and I don't know how to get it back. One night, after another sleepless hour spent scrolling through her texts, I decide I need to confront him. I need to see the man who's ruined my life, to look him in the eye and demand answers. I track him down easily enough. A simple internet search reveals his address, his workplace. I drive there the next day, my mind a whirlwind of anger and adrenaline. When I see him, my first impulse is to hit him, to make him feel a fraction of the pain he's caused me. But I hold back barely. Instead, I approach him calmly, as if we're just two men having a conversation. His surprise quickly turns to fear when he realizes who I am. I can see it in his eyes, the way he glances around as if looking for a way out. You know who I am? I say, my voice low and steady. He nods, his face pale. Listen, man, I cut him off. No, you listen. You've taken everything from me. My wife, my family. I want to know why. He stammers, tries to explain, but his words are empty, meaningless. He talks about how it wasn't supposed to happen, how he never meant to hurt anyone. I see right through him. He's nothing but a coward, a man who's destroyed lives without a second thought. I don't get the satisfaction I was hoping for. Seeing him, hearing his pathetic excuses, only makes me feel worse. He's not worth my anger, not worth the time I've wasted obsessing over him. I leave him standing there, his words hanging in the air, and drive away with a sick feeling in my stomach. The confrontation changes nothing. My wife is still distant, our marriage still crumbling. And now, on top of everything else, word about the affair starts to spread. It's like a virus, infecting every part of our lives. Friends, neighbors, even colleagues start looking at me differently, their sympathy tinged with judgment. They whisper behind my back, their pity palpable. I can't stand it. Everywhere I go, I feel like I'm on display, a living example of a man who couldn't keep his wife. The humiliation is unbearable. I withdraw, stop going out, stop talking to people. I become a ghost in my own life, drifting through the days without direction, without purpose. Even my work, the one thing that always gave me solace, loses its meaning. I can't write, can't focus. The words that used to flow so easily now escape me, leaving behind only frustration and despair. I start to fantasize about revenge, about making them both pay for what they've done. The thoughts consume me, dark and twisted. I picture scenarios where I expose them, humiliate them in front of everyone. I think about leaking the messages, the photos, anything that will destroy their reputations, their lives. But as I dive deeper into these fantasies, I realize how dangerous they are, how they're pulling me into a place I might not come back from. There are moments when I see a different side of her, a glimpse of the woman I married. In those rare instances, she's softer, almost apologetic. And for a fleeting second, I think maybe, just maybe, we can salvage something from this wreckage. But those moments are fleeting, drowned out by the weight of everything that's happened. She's still distant, still spending too much time on her phone, and every time I try to reach out, I'm met with a wall. Then one evening, the bomb drops. We're having dinner, a strained, awkward affair as usual, when she gets a call. She glances at the screen, and I see her face go pale. She excuses herself, steps out of the room to take the call. I know something is wrong, my gut twisting with dread. When she comes back, she looks shaken, like she's seen a ghost. I ask her what's wrong, but she just shakes her head, saying it's nothing, but I know it's a lie. I can see it in her eyes, the fear, the guilt. My mind races, wondering what else she's been hiding from me. I press her, demanding to know what's going on, but she refuses to tell me. The tension in the room is unbearable, and I feel like I'm about to snap. Finally, she admits it. The affair isn't just a fling. It's something more, something that could destroy not just our marriage, but everything we've built. There are secrets, things she's kept hidden from me, things that go beyond infidelity. As she starts to talk, her voice trembling, I realize that the affair was just the tip of the iceberg. There are lies, financial secrets, connections that could ruin us both. My world, already shattered, crumbles even further as I listen to her confession. I'm reeling, unable to process everything she's telling me. I thought I was angry before, but this is something else. I'm filled with a cold, dark rage that scares even me. I want to hurt her, to make her feel the pain I'm feeling, but I know that won't fix anything. It won't make the lies go away, won't repair the damage that's been done. I leave the house, needing to clear my head, needing space to think. I walk through the city, the noise and lights a blur around me. My thoughts are a chaotic mess, a storm of anger, betrayal, and fear. I think about my daughter, about what all of this means for her future. I can't let this destroy her life too. I need to protect her, to find a way out of this mess. When I finally go home, it's late. The house is quiet, dark. She's asleep, or at least pretending to be. I stand in the doorway of our bedroom watching her for a long time, my emotions warring inside me. I used to look at her with love, with admiration. Now, all I see is a stranger, someone I don't know if I can ever trust again. As I lie in bed, the weight of everything presses down on me. I can't keep living like this, can't keep pretending that things can go back to the way they were. The secrets, the lies, they're too much. I know now that our marriage is over, that there's no fixing this. But the thought of ending it, of tearing our family apart, is almost too much to bear. I close my eyes, trying to find some peace, some clarity, but all I see is darkness. All I feel is the crushing weight of betrayal. I know what I have to do, but the thought of it fills me with dread. There's no going back from this, no undoing what's been done, but I can't keep living in this hell. I have to take control, have to find a way to move forward, for myself, for my daughter. The thought of revenge lingers in my mind, tempting, but I push it away. I need to be better than that, stronger. But how? As I drift into a restless sleep, I know that the hardest part is yet to come. The secrets she's revealed, the lies that have been uncovered, they're just the beginning. There's more to this story, more that I need to uncover, and I know it's going to get worse before it gets better. But I'm ready. I have to be. There's no other choice. I confront her the next evening. I've spent the entire day obsessing over everything I've learned, piecing together the lies, the secrets, the betrayal. My anger is a living thing growing inside me, threatening to consume everything in its path. I can't hold it in anymore. We sit in the living room, the tension thick, almost suffocating. She looks at me, sensing what's coming, her eyes wary. "We need to talk," I say, my voice cold and steady. She nods, a slight tremor in her hands. "Okay." I know everything, I begin, laying out the evidence I've gathered, each piece like a dagger to my heart. The texts, the emails, the hidden financial transactions. I unload it all, watching her face as the truth hits her. She tries to interrupt, to explain, but I don't let her. "You've lied to me for months," I spit out. "How could you do this? How could you tear our family apart for him?" Tears fill her eyes, but I don't care. Not this time. I need answers, not apologies. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she says, her voice shaking. "It just did. I was unhappy. I felt lost. And he made me feel alive again." "Alive?" I repeat, incredulous. "So you'd destroy everything we've built because you needed to feel alive?" "It wasn't just about that," she protests. "There were things I couldn't tell you, things I was afraid of." "Afraid?" I snap. "Afraid of what?" "That I'd find out you were cheating? That I'd realize you're a liar?" "No," she shouts, her composure cracking. "Afraid that you'd hate me, that you'd leave me if you knew everything." "Everything?" I say, my voice dropping. "What haven't you told me?" She hesitates, and I feel the rage building again. "Tell me," I demand. She looks away, her voice barely a whisper. "The money, it wasn't just to cover the affair. I've been involved in something dangerous." My heart skips a beat. "What do you mean?" "What have you done?" She starts to cry, her words tumbling out in a rush. "I was desperate, okay? I felt like I was drowning, like our life was suffocating me. I needed I needed a way out, and I got involved with some people. They promised me a way out, but it came with a price. I didn't know how deep I'd get. I didn't know it would end up like this. Who are they? I ask, my voice hard. She shakes her head. I can't tell you. If they find out I've told you, they'll come after us. After you, after our daughter. I never wanted to drag you into this. I'm stunned, my mind racing to make sense of it all. This isn't just an affair anymore. It's something much darker, much more dangerous. You have to tell me, I insist. If you want any chance of fixing this, you need to tell me everything. She's silent for a long time, her eyes full of fear. Finally, she nods. Okay, she whispers, but you have to promise me you won't do anything reckless. Please promise me. I promise, I say, though I'm not sure I mean it. She begins to talk, and the more she reveals, the deeper the pit in my stomach grows. It's worse than I imagine. She's gotten involved with criminals, people who've used her, manipulated her, and now they've got their hooks in deep. The rage I feel is overwhelming. I can barely think straight. But there's something else too. Fear. If what she's saying is true, we're in serious danger. I can't believe it's come to this. We have to go to the police, I say finally. No, she cries. You don't understand. They have people everywhere. If we go to the police, they'll know. And they'll come after us. So what do we do? I ask, my voice filled with frustration. Just sit here and wait for them to come knocking? She looks at me, her eyes pleading. We can figure this out together. Please, just give me time to fix this. I'll find a way out. How? I ask, my voice breaking. How are you going to fix this? You've lied to me, betrayed me. How can I trust you now? I'll do whatever it takes, she says desperately. I'll cut ties with them. I'll end everything with him. Please, I need you to trust me one last time. I'm torn. I don't know what to do. Part of me wants to walk away, to leave her to deal with the mess she's created. But another part of me, the part that still loves her, still wants to protect our family, holds me back. The next few days are a blur of tension and fear. I can't focus on anything, can't sleep, can't eat. Every time the phone rings, my heart jumps, expecting the worst. My wife is a nervous wreck, constantly looking over her shoulder, jumping at every noise. Our daughter knows something is wrong, but we can't tell her. The weight of the secrets is crushing us. Then it all comes to a head. We're in the middle of another argument, voices raised, accusations flying, when she finally snaps. You think I'm the only one who's lied? The only one who's made mistakes? What about you? What the hell are you talking about? I shout back. You, she yells, tears streaming down her face. You've been so wrapped up in your own anger, your own betrayal, that you haven't even noticed what you've been doing. Spying on me, going behind my back, obsessing over every little detail. You're not the victim here. You're just as guilty. Her words hit me like a slap in the face. I want to deny it, to argue, but I can't. She's right. I've let my anger and jealousy consume me. Let it drive me to do things I never thought I was capable of. I've crossed lines I shouldn't have, and now I'm paying the price. The argument spirals out of control. We're both shouting, hurling insults, bringing up every past hurt, every buried resentment. It's like a dam has burst, and everything we've been holding back comes flooding out. The tension has been building for so long, and now it's exploding in the worst possible way. I don't know how it happens, but suddenly, I'm not in control anymore. I grab her, my hands rough, my voice harsh. You ruined everything, I scream, shaking her. You destroyed our lives. She's crying, struggling against me, and in that moment, I hate her. I hate what she's done, what she's turned me into. I push her away, harder than I mean to, and she stumbles, falling to the floor. The sound of her hitting the ground snaps me out of my rage, and I freeze, horrified at what I've done. She's lying there, sobbing, and I realize I've become the monster I've been trying to fight. The guilt hits me like a ton of bricks, and I fall to my knees beside her. I'm sorry, I whisper, my voice breaking. I'm so sorry. She doesn't respond, just curls up sobbing. I feel like I've hit rock bottom, like there's no way out of this hell we've created. The love we once had, the life we built, it's all gone, replaced by anger, fear, and regret. The doorbell rings and we both freeze. We weren't expecting anyone and the sudden intrusion fills me with dread. I get up slowly, my heart pounding, and move to the door. I open it cautiously, ready for anything. Two police officers stand there, serious expressions on their faces. "Mr. Thompson?" one of them asks. I nod, my mouth dry. "We need to speak with you and your wife." I let them in, my mind racing. They sit us down, asking questions, their voices calm but firm. My wife is pale, trembling, barely able to answer. I feel like I'm in a nightmare, like this can't be happening. Finally, one of the officers looks at me, his gaze piercing. "Mr. Thompson, your wife is under investigation. We have reason to believe she's involved in illegal activities. We need you to come with us to the station." I feel the ground fall away beneath me. This is it. The consequences of everything we've done are finally catching up to us. I look at my wife, and for the first time, I see the fear in her eyes, the realization that there's no escape. "I'll go with you," I say quietly, my voice hollow. "There's nothing else to do. I can't fight this, can't fix this. All I can do is face the consequences of our actions." As they lead us out of the house, I feel a numbness settle over me. My life, once so perfect, so full of love and promise, has disintegrated before my eyes. There's no going back, no undoing what's been done. And the worst part is, I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive myself or her. The night air is cool against my skin as we step outside, the flashing lights of the police cars casting eerie shadows. I glance back at the house, our home, and feel a deep, aching sense of loss. We're not just losing our freedom, we're losing everything. Our daughter, our future, the life we once dreamed of. As the car door closes behind me, I close my eyes, letting the darkness envelop me. The road ahead is uncertain, filled with challenges I'm not sure I can face. But I know one thing for certain. This is the end of the life I once knew. And whatever comes next, I'll have to find a way to survive, for myself and for my daughter. The day after the police took us in, I reach out to a lawyer. I have no choice now. I need someone to navigate this mess, to help me understand the legal consequences of my actions, and more importantly, to start planning a divorce. It's the first real step I've taken to regain control of my life, but it feels like I'm walking into a storm. The lawyer, a sharp-eyed woman named Rachel, listens to my story without interrupting. Her office is cold, sterile, just like the reality I'm facing. When I finish, she leans back in her chair, her expression unreadable. "You're in a difficult position," she says finally, her voice calm but firm. "The police involvement complicates things. They are likely investigating your wife's activities, which could lead to criminal charges. If they connect you to anything illegal, even unintentionally, it could make things worse for you." I nod, feeling the weight of her words. "I need to protect my daughter," I say, my voice rough. "Whatever happens, she has to be safe." Rachel's gaze softens slightly. "We'll do everything we can to ensure that, but you need to prepare yourself for a fight." Divorce in these circumstances is never easy, especially when there are criminal implications. The courts will look at everything, your behavior, your financial situation, and how the affair has impacted your daughter. The mention of my daughter sends a jolt of pain through me. She's been through so much already, caught in the crossfire of our collapsing marriage. I can't let this destroy her life too. "What do I need to do?" I asked, determined to move forward. "First, we need to gather all the evidence you have, texts, emails, anything that shows the affair and any illegal activities your wife might be involved in," Rachel says. "We'll need to present a strong case to protect your interests, especially if this goes to court. Then we'll file for divorce on the grounds of adultery and any other relevant factors. It's not what I wanted, not how I ever imagined things would end, but there's no other choice. I have to do what's best for my daughter and myself." Over the next few weeks, I focus on gathering evidence, working closely with Rachel. Every time I dig through my wife's messages, Every time I piece together the details of her betrayal, the pain resurfaces. It's like reopening a wound that refuses to heal. But I push through it because I know I have to. There's no going back now. As the divorce proceedings move forward, I start to face the financial and emotional challenges head on. My career takes a hit. I can't focus on my work, and the stress of the situation is affecting my creativity. I miss deadlines, cancel meetings, and find myself struggling to keep up with the demands of my profession. The once steady flow of income begins to dwindle, and I realize I'll have to make some tough decisions about my future. Selling the house is one of those decisions. It's too big, too full of memories I can't bear to face. The process is gut-wrenching, but I know it's necessary. I find a smaller place, closer to the city, where I can start fresh. It's not much, but it's a step forward, a way to reclaim a little piece of my life. Through it all, my daughter remains my anchor. I focus on her, on repairing the damage that's been done. We spend more time together, just the two of us, visiting parks, going to the movies, cooking dinners at home. I try to be the father she needs, someone she can rely on, even when everything else is falling apart. But it's not easy. She's still young, but she's smart. She senses the tension, the changes in our lives. She asks about her mother, about why things are different now, and I struggle to find the right words. I don't want to burden her with the ugly truth, but I can't lie to her either. So I tell her that sometimes people make mistakes and those mistakes can hurt others. I tell her that I love her, that I'll always be there for her no matter what. The hardest part is the nights when she's not with me, when she's staying with her mother. I know I need to let them have their time together, but it tears me apart to let her go. I worry about what's being said, about the influence her mother might have on her. I don't trust her anymore, and that mistrust bleeds into every aspect of our lives. One evening after dropping my daughter off, my wife calls me. Her voice is soft, hesitant. "I want to talk," she says. "Can we meet?" I don't want to, but something in her tone stops me from saying no. We meet at a cafe, neutral ground. She looks tired, worn down by everything that's happened. For a moment, I almost feel sorry for her, but then I remember the lies, the betrayal, and the sympathy fades. "I've been thinking," she begins, her eyes downcast, "about everything. I know I've done terrible things, things I can never undo, but I want to make things right, for our daughter, if not for us." I listen, my emotions a tangled mess. Part of me wants to believe her, to hope that we can somehow salvage something from the wreckage. But the other part, the part that's been hardened by the pain, knows better. "It's too late," I say quietly. "There's no going back. We can't fix this." She nods, tears filling her eyes. "I know. But I want to try by. I want to be better for her." There's a sincerity in her voice that I haven't heard in a long time, and it stirs something in me. But it's not enough. The trust is gone. The bond we once shared is shattered. "You can be better for her," I say. "But we're done." She looks at me, the tears spilling over, but she doesn't argue. She knows it's true. We sit in silence for a while, the weight of everything hanging between us. Finally, she stands up. "I'm sorry," she whispers. "For everything." I watch her leave, feeling a strange mix of relief and sorrow. It's over. Really over. And now I have to find a way to move on. In the following days, I start to feel a sense of closure, a small but significant shift. I've accepted that the marriage is over, that the life I once knew is gone. It's painful, but it's also freeing in a way. I can finally begin to focus on the future, on rebuilding my life from the ground up. I move into my new place, a modest apartment that feels more like a blank slate than a home. It's smaller, quieter, and for the first time in months, I feel a sense of peace. It's not much, but it's mine, and I can make it into something better. I pour my energy into work, slowly regaining the focus I'd lost. The creative block that had plagued me starts to lift, and I find myself writing again. The music flows more easily, the words come without effort. It's not the same as before, but it's something, and it gives me a sense of purpose. I also begin to reach out to friends, to reconnect with the people I'd pushed away during the worst of the storm. Their support is a lifeline, helping me to see that I'm not alone in this, that I can still find my way through the darkness. But the scars of betrayal remain. There are moments when the pain resurfaces, when I'm reminded of everything I've lost. I know it will take time, maybe a long time before those wounds fully heal. But I'm determined to move forward, to build a new life for myself and my daughter, one that's free from the shadows of the past. As the divorce proceedings near their end, I feel a sense of finality. It's bittersweet, but it's also a relief. The legal battles, the emotional turmoil, it's all coming to a close. I sign the papers, knowing that this chapter of my life is over. Standing outside the courthouse after the final hearing, I take a deep breath, feeling the weight lift off my shoulders. It's done. The marriage, the lies, the pain, it's all behind me now. I look up at the sky, feeling the sun on my face, and for the first time in a long time, I feel hopeful. There's a long road ahead, and it won't be easy, but I'm ready to take the first step. I pick up my phone and call my daughter, smiling as her voice fills the silence. "Hey, sweetheart," I say, my heart full of love. "I'm on my way to pick you up. How about we get some ice cream?" Her laughter is the best sound I've heard in months. "Yes, Daddy," she exclaims. I hang up, my smile widening as I start the car. The past is behind me, and the future is uncertain, but for the first time, that uncertainty feels like possibility. I have a new life to build, a new chapter to write, and I'm ready to begin. The divorce is finalized on a gray, drizzly morning. The judge's voice is distant, almost muffled, as he reads the final decree, dissolving our marriage. My wife, or should I say my ex-wife, sits across the room, her expression unreadable. The courtroom is cold, impersonal, and the moment that should have felt monumental instead feels strangely hollow. I don't feel relief, not yet, just a numbing emptiness. The papers are signed, and just like that, it's over. A decade of marriage reduced to signatures on a few sheets of paper. There's no dramatic moment, no final exchange of words. We just stand up, separate by silent agreement, and walk out of the courtroom. I don't look back. I can't. I step into the rain, letting it soak into my clothes, the cold seeping into my skin. It feels fitting somehow, like the weather is mourning the end of something that once mattered. But there's no time to dwell on it. I have to keep moving, keep going. My daughter is waiting for me at home, and I need to be strong for her, even if I feel anything but. The first few days after the divorce are a blur. I throw myself into work, trying to drown out the thoughts that keep creeping in. The doubts, the guilt, the lingering anger, they all swirl around in my mind, refusing to let me rest. I know I need closure, some final confrontation to put this all behind me. And I know exactly who I need to talk to. I find him easily enough, the man who helped tear my life apart. He's sitting at a bar, a glass of whiskey in front of him, looking too comfortable for my liking. I don't know what I expect to gain from this, but I know I can't move on without facing him. I walk up, my heart pounding in my chest, and take the seat next to him. He looks over, recognition flickering in his eyes, followed by a flash of fear. Good. He should be afraid. I don't say anything at first, just stare at him, letting the silence stretch until it's unbearable. Finally, he clears his throat, trying to sound casual. "What do you want?" "What do you think?" I reply, my voice cold. "I want answers. I want to know why you did it. Why her? Why my family?" He shifts uncomfortably, looking away. "It wasn't about you," he says, but the words ring hollow. "It was never about you." "Bullshit," I snap. "You knew exactly what you were doing. You didn't just destroy my marriage. You destroyed my life." He's quiet for a moment, and when he speaks again, his voice is softer, almost regretful. "I didn't mean for it to go this far. She was just..." "Just what?" I press, my anger flaring. "A distraction? A thrill? Something to pass the time?" He doesn't answer, just stares into his drink. I feel a surge of disgust, not just for him, but for the whole situation. This is the man who ruined everything, and he doesn't even have the decency to own up to it. "You're pathetic," I say, my voice low with contempt. You think this is just going to go away? That you can move on and forget about it? He looks at me then, really looks at me, and for the first time, I see the guilt in his eyes. No, he admits, his voice breaking. I know I can't. I'll have to live with this for the rest of my life, and so will she. I don't know why, but hearing him say that takes the wind out of my sails. I came here looking for a fight, for something to justify the anger that's been eating me alive. But now, seeing him like this, I just feel tired. Yeah, I say quietly. So will I. We sit there in silence, the weight of everything hanging between us. There's nothing left to say, nothing that can make this right. Finally, I stand up, throwing a few bills on the bar. Stay away from me and my daughter, I say, my voice firm. You owe me that much. He nods, not meeting my eyes. I'm sorry, he says, but it's too little, too late. I walk out of the bar, the night air cool against my skin. I don't feel the satisfaction I thought I would. There's no sense of closure, no neat ending to this nightmare. But maybe that's the point. Maybe there are some wounds that never fully heal. Over the next few weeks, I try to focus on rebuilding my life. It's harder than I thought it would be. The scars run deep, and there are days when I feel like I'm just going through the motions. But I keep going, for my daughter's sake, if nothing else. I start to reflect on everything that's happened, on the choices that led me here. It's easy to blame my ex-wife, to see her as the villain in all this. But the truth is, we both made mistakes. I ignored the signs, took things for granted, let the distance between us grow until it was too late to fix. The affair was just a symptom of deeper issues, issues I was too blind to see. It's a bitter pill to swallow, realizing that I wasn't the perfect husband I thought I was. But it's also freeing in a way. It means that I can learn from this, that I can grow, become better, not just for my daughter, but for myself. I begin to forgive, not just her, but myself too. It's not easy, and it doesn't happen overnight. But little by little, I start to let go of the anger, the resentment, the guilt. I start to see the future as something other than a dark cloud hanging over me. Work becomes an outlet for this new sense of purpose. I pour my heart into my music, creating songs that speak to the pain, the loss, but also the hope that's slowly starting to take root in me. It's therapeutic, a way to process everything I've been through, and I find myself rediscovering the passion I thought I'd lost. And then there's my daughter. She's my light, my reason to keep going. Every time I see her smile, every time she laughs, it reminds me that there's still good in the world, still joy to be found. We grow closer, our bond stronger than ever. She's resilient, stronger than I ever imagined, and I'm determined to be the father she deserves. As I continue to heal, I start to notice someone who's been quietly supportive throughout all of this. A friend, someone who was there for me when things were at their worst. We spend more time together talking, laughing, sharing moments that start to feel like something more. I'm hesitant at first, afraid to open myself up again, afraid of being hurt. But she's patient, understanding. She doesn't push, doesn't demand more than I'm ready to give. And slowly I begin to let her in. One evening we're sitting on my balcony, the city lights twinkling below us, a bottle of wine between us. She's telling me a story, something funny that happened at work, and I find myself laughing, really laughing, for the first time in what feels like forever. The sound surprises me, and she smiles, her eyes warm. I've missed that, she says softly. What? I ask, still smiling. Your laugh, she replies, her gaze holding mine. It's good to see you happy again. Her words hit me in a way I didn't expect. I realize that she's right. I am happy, or at least on my way there. It's a strange feeling after everything that's happened, but it's real. And it's because of her, because of the way she's been there for me, even when I didn't know I needed her. Without thinking, I reach out, taking her hand in mine. It's a simple gesture, but it feels like a leap of faith. She squeezes my hand, her smile widening, and in that moment, I know that I'm ready. Ready to move on, to start a new chapter, to let go of the past. We sit there in comfortable silence, the future stretching out before us. It's still uncertain, still filled with challenges, but for the first time, I'm not afraid. I have my daughter, I have my music, and now I have someone who might just be the person I've been waiting for. As the night deepens, I feel a sense of peace settle over me. The scars of the past are still there, but they're healing. I'm stronger now, more aware of what really matters. And as I sit there holding her hand, I know that whatever comes next, I'm ready to face it. The past is behind me, and the future is mine to shape. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I've rebuilt my life. It's been a long, painful journey, but I'm standing on the other side now, stronger than I ever thought I could be. The scars from my wife's betrayal are still there, but they've healed over, leaving me wiser, more aware of how fragile trust can be. My new apartment feels like home. It's small, but filled with things that make me happy. My guitar in the corner, a few plants I've somehow managed to keep alive, and pictures of my daughter scattered throughout the place. She's my anchor, the one constant that kept me going when everything else fell apart. We've grown closer through all of this, and I'm grateful for that. I've made a promise to myself to always be there for her, to never let her down. My work has flourished in unexpected ways. The pain and anger I went through have fueled some of the best music I've ever written. It's raw, honest, and it resonates with people. I've been more creative than I have in years, and it feels good to pour my emotions into something that matters. I've even started performing again, something I'd stopped doing when my marriage began to fall apart. Being out on stage, feeling the energy of the crowd, it reminds me that I'm still alive, still capable of joy. But as much as I've healed, there's still a part of me that's cautious, hesitant to open up again. The betrayal left its mark, and trust doesn't come easily anymore. That's why I've been so careful with her, the woman who's been quietly supportive throughout this entire ordeal. She's been a friend, a confidant, and lately something more. But I've held back, afraid of getting hurt again, afraid of repeating the same mistakes. Tonight, we're having dinner at my place. It's a simple meal, nothing fancy, but the conversation flows easily, the way it always does with her. She makes me laugh, makes me feel at ease, in a way I haven't felt in a long time. There's something different in the air tonight, though, something unspoken that we both seem to be dancing around. After dinner, we move to the couch, a bottle of wine between us. The city lights glow outside the window, casting a soft, warm light in the room. We talk about everything and nothing, but there's a tension in the air, a sense that something is about to change. She looks at me, her eyes full of that same warmth and understanding that's always drawn me to her. "You've come so far," she says softly. "I'm proud of you." "Thanks," I say, my voice a little rough. "I couldn't have done it without you." She smiles, but there's a hint of something else in her expression, something vulnerable. "I'm glad I could be here for you," she says. "But there's something I need to say." My heart skips a beat. "What is it?" She hesitates, then takes a deep breath. "I care about you, a lot, and I think I've been waiting for you to be ready, but I don't want to push you into anything you're not ready for." Her words hang in the air, and I feel the weight of them. I know what she's saying, what she's offering. It scares me, but it also excites me. I've been so focused on surviving, on getting through each day, that I haven't allowed myself to think about what comes next. But now, sitting here with her, I realize that maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to take a leap of faith, to let go of the past and embrace whatever the future holds. I reach out, taking her hand in mine. "I care about you too," I say, my voice steady, "more than I've been willing to admit. And I think I'm ready to see where this goes." Her smile is radiant, and for the first time in a long time, I feel a genuine sense of hope. We sit there holding hands, the future stretching out before us, full of possibilities. As the night deepens, I walk her to the door. There's a moment of hesitation before she steps outside, and I know she's waiting for me to make the next move. I lean in, pressing my lips to hers in a soft, tentative kiss. It's simple, but it feels like a beginning, a new chapter in a story that's far from over. When she leaves, I stand in the doorway for a long time, feeling the cool night air on my skin. I'm not sure what the future holds, but for the first time in a long time, I'm not afraid to find out. I've learned so much from the pain, from the betrayal, but I've also learned that I'm stronger than I ever knew. I close the door, feeling a sense of peace settle over me. The past is behind me, the wounds have healed, and the future is mine to shape. I'm ready to start this new chapter, to embrace the life I've rebuilt, and to open myself up to the possibility of love again. As I head to bed, I catch a glimpse of my reflection in the mirror. The man staring back at me is different from the one I was before all this started. He's older, a little more worn, but he's also stronger, wiser, and more resilient. I smile at that thought, feeling a warmth spread through me. I'm not defined by what happened to me. I'm defined by how I've chosen to move forward, by the decisions I've made to rebuild my life. And as I climb into bed, pulling the covers around me, I know that whatever comes next, I'm ready to face it head on. The future is bright, full of new possibilities, and I can't wait to see where it takes me. I close my eyes, a sense of calm washing over me as I drift off to sleep. Tomorrow is a new day, and I'm ready to embrace it with open arms.